They are all leading international experts in their respective fields. They are all contributing to humanity's progress worldwide and now in China. They are all aligning their vision with China's future. They are all here on My China.
It's late in the 4th century, and in the Western world, the Roman Empire is entering its final decline. In China, by contrast, a culture is emerging that will develop for 1,000 years. In the Gobi Desert, in the country's west, work is beginning on what would become the most significant set of cave temples on Earth. Today, the Mogao Grottoes at Dunhuang are considered one of the most important sites of Buddhist art, tantalizing tourists and archaeologists ever since their discovery over 100 years ago. This gentleman is Dr. Neville a world-famous expert on cultural relics preservation from the Getty Conservation Institute. His association with the Mogao Grottoes dates back to the late 1980s.
And we have not got the Chinese people and the Chinese government value the Mogao Grottoes as of the very highest significance in China's cultural heritage.
In 1987, the Mogao Grottoes were included by UNESCO on its World Heritage List. Thus, they became one of China's first World Cultural Heritage Sites. The institution responsible for the conservation of the Mogao Grottoes is the Dunhuang Academy. Neville began collaborating with it soon after the grottos gained their UNESCO recognition. In nearly 30 years of working together, the American expert and the Chinese Academy have made significant progress in several key areas of conservation: sand control, mural preservation, and tourism administration.
I came here with a colleague from the Getty to look at the possibilities of a collaboration with the Dunhuang Academy, but also in China, because at that time we had been approached by UNESCO representative in China to visit here and to see if there were opportunities to be working in China. Only the year before had the Mogao Grottoes been inscribed in UNESCO's World Heritage List. But the archaeological remains are there, right?
Fan Jinshi is a former vice director of the Academy. She was grateful for the fresh ideas brought by Neville and his colleagues.
如果从认识阿根牛到现在就是27年，是不是啊？从签约开始26年。阿根牛说了这句话，我到现在为止都不忘。你们中国缺的是官。
The first cave excavation at Dunhuang is believed to have started in the second half of the 4th century. Legend has it that a monk named Yuezun had a vision of the Buddha's halo here, an event which he decided to commemorate by creating a temple in the side of the cliff. The Mogao Grottoes lie in the southeastern part of Dunhuang town. In ancient times, the area was a gateway through which Buddhism spread eastwards into China. Evidence of early Buddhist activity has been found in the area. By the late 4th century, Dunhuang was an important trading hub on the Silk Road. Dunhuang's climate is characterized by dry air and occasional rainfall. Though generally good for conserving wall paintings, the aridness creates other dangers. Sand is a natural product of the climate here. It was the biggest problem Neville needed when he first arrived at the Mogao Grottoes. He vividly recalls what a headache the sand was for the experts at Dunhuang Academy.
Here we are on top of the cliff face on the plateau above the Mogao Grottoes. Over there are the Sunway Mountains. It's been a problem, of course, for the Dunhuang Academy to control the sand. Before we developed a number of techniques for stopping the sand or reducing the sand, every year the Academy staff had to sweep by hand 2,000 cubic meters of sand from the base of the cliff, or the cliff base and the caves would be buried again.
16世纪是明朝政府修嘉峪关以后，这个地方就停开了。这些窟都主人都走了，没人管了，那沙子卷进去，磨坏了，洞子弄坏了。这个空气也不好，你开放单位啊，满天尘土都不好。
So this is a big problem because occasionally if the river floods, as it did, or it rains, the sand that is packed into the entrance to the caves gets very wet and it carries the moisture into the cave and destroys the wall paintings. So this is why at the base level many of the caves showed detention due to wet sand that had clogged the entrance to the caves. So a challenge for us in our 1989 was how do you control the sand here? But when we came here, the Getty came in 1988, and this was one of the first challenges. How do you really begin to control the sand? So we used this material. We imported it from Australia. It's a knitted shade cloth. It's actually developed for the horticultural industry, for growing flowers and vegetables under shade. But the interesting thing about it is when the wind blows through it, it reduces the wind speed by 50%. So what happens then is the wind drops the sand. And over there you can see the sand accumulating on the other side. Of course, over time, the sand builds up. And from time to time, maybe every 10 years, you have to remove the sand with a machine. But that is better than sweeping away 2,000 cubic meters every year by hand with brooms. Yes. We knew immediately, within 1 year, that it had cut the sand by 60% at the bottom. So this was a big advance straight away, 60% reduction. Not a total solution, but a big reduction.
The second sand barrier is a vegetation belt.
You can immediately see how much sand is accumulated here on this ridge where the plants are, right? There's the level both there and there's the natural level. So that the plants themselves...
1 meter high, perhaps.
Oh, 1.5 meter high, yeah. The water from the Dachuan River has got a lot of salts in it, and you can see that by looking here. You see, out of the drip irrigation here, you see the white stuff?
The salt?
It's not the regular salt that we eat. Some of it is, but it's a mixture of salt, sodium chloride, sulfates, sodium sulfate, magnesium sulfate, and carbonates and salt. So it's mixed salts dissolved in the water. Of course, many plants cannot tolerate that. They will die. But these plants have adapted to it. So this is why we chose 5 different plants here to grow and test.
The Dunhuang Academy also uses what it calls a grass grid to control the sand. It too has proved effective. Eventually, the efforts of the Chinese and foreign experts made an impact on controlling the sand.
This is one of my favorite places in the entire world. When I come to Dunhuang, which I come twice a year, I always make like a pilgrimage up the river to this wonderful place here, because here is peace and tranquility, peace and calm and beauty. Here's the natural desert landscape. There's the river that brings the water to the grottos. that supplied the water to the first monks who dug the first caves here. So this is the Dachuan River. The moment we see it as it is small, with the reeds and the beautiful autumn colors here. And in the background we have a Tang Dynasty stupa there, just sitting there isolated by itself. Really a very special place, such a beautiful place. I think this place is one of the values, natural value for sure, of the Dunhuang Mogao site. I think it is this atmosphere here that lured and brought the first monks here, where they were seeking to withdraw from the world for spiritual contemplation and to make their cave temples and to decorate them.
The beauty and spirituality of the Mogao Grottoes had a profound effect on Neville. Whereas the monks created the art, Neville's passion is its conservation. Cave 85 is located at base level in the southern area of the Mogao Grottoes. Dating from the late Tang Dynasty, the once fine paintings on its walls depict stories from the Buddhist scriptures. Sadly, however, the deterioration in Cave 85 has been particularly severe. Natural salts carried in by floods and rain have penetrated the walls, dissolving and crystallizing to cause most of the damage. These salts have got beneath the paint layer, eaten into the plaster and detached the painted plaster. Here, conservation does not mean restoration, still less repainting.
Here, it's critical that nobody add repaint or add pigments, because that would be creating something that is not authentic. Authenticity is very important in our field, in retaining the true original material. So stabilization is the purpose of conservation. It shows the history of the site, and that's an important thing to convey. Where the rock is exposed, you can...
The walls close to ground level have been virtually destroyed. Salt crystals can even be seen on the rock.
There, you see, that's a heavy salt. On the ground level now in Cave 85, and we're looking at the serious deterioration that has occurred over the centuries. We can see that starting at the bottom here, there's totals of the wall paintings. This is natural rock. This is the conglomerate rock. Up here is the mud plaster. Up here are vestiges of painting. It's all been lost because the cave flooded in the past and the water crept up here. As I mentioned before, these are the salts that we can see in the rock. And you can see how fragile it destroys the rock. This is unpainted rock.
Neville believes that adhesive grout is the best medium for reoperated plaster to the rock.
所以他试了好多这种，我叫药，实际上就是加固材料。他试了好几，据他们说8、90种吧，多少种，在美国试，其实都是高分子的材料。试了这淘汰，筛选，不断的筛选。
The conservation of Cave 85, as a collaborative effort between Dunhuang Academy and Getty Conservation Institute, began in 1998. The work involved injecting a special grout mixture developed by Neville behind the painted plaster and drying it with an absorbent press. The state of the paintings before and after was fully documented. Under Neville's guidance, the work was highly successful. In all, Neville spent 7 years working on Cave 85. Through his experiences there, he produced a complete scientific methodology for wall painting conservation.
The idea was to do one cave as well as we could and apply the methodology elsewhere. Dunhuang Academy has adopted that methodology in cave 98, which is an even bigger cave. It's 5 dynasties, just after cave 85, very similar but bigger. So we felt we've had a good impact in that regard.
In the course of 30 years at the Grottoes, Neville has developed close working relationships with 2 generations of Dunhuang Academy experts. As a colleague and as a friend, Neville is liked and respected by the Academy's staff. His contribution has been not only to conserving the Mogao Grottoes, but also to developing technical experts for the Academy.
他特别敬业，做事严谨、严格、刻苦，他绝不得一点点马虎，很难得啊。所以这样的一位合作伙伴，而且我们有吵是吵啊，经常会想在一起。我而且认为他是一个正友，就是那个言字边那个争论的争。好朋友才是跟你说实话呢，他有时就跟你直白白就跟你提解。
他看问题非常全面，他不仅仅看到科学问题，他还看到管理问题，这是非常难得的啊。所以我说我们现在就是在搞理工科的，一定要有一种就是人文的这个情怀，还要有一种就是那种开放的视野啊，还要有一种就是那种与人交流沟通的这样一种本领啊。这是我觉得我们从他身上学了很多很多东西。可以说我的这个整个的在敦煌研究的成长，就是跟美国的这个合作是可以说是同步的。
Since it was open to the public in 1979, Mogao Grottoes has attracted tourists from all over the world. The number reached 1 million in a year for the first time in 2015. Yet those responsible for the conservation, though happy with such huge public interest, are all too conscious of the cave's fragility. Neville's task now is to seek a balance between conservation and tourism.
The number that comes out of that is around 6,000 people per day, can be handled comfortably by the staff here. Now, I should mention that there are 492 caves here decorated. 492 caves, and people say, why can't you open more caves? Well, the reason is some of them are too small. Some of them are so seriously damaged over time that there's no wall paintings left there. So it comes down to about 100 caves that can be used for visitors. 1/5 almost of the caves. Somewhat more than that, but that's about the order of caves that can be used. So it's a smaller number. And those are the most precious caves because they are of the most interest to visitors and the most beautiful and the best preserved. So it's important that we have a good visitor management strategy.
This is the Tourism Management Centre. The screen shows statistics on tourist visits to the caves.
This is visitor numbers today, at the time, and so you can see this is the accumulation of all the visitors so far in that cave today, which is 231. So it shows that, it shows the temperature in a cave, shows the relative humidity, which is a critical factor. Carbon dioxide, which is important for visitor comfort and safety, shows the visitor flow and the cave number. If a cave is on an alert system, something may be wrong there.
Maybe wrong.
It's flashing.
Yes.
The flashing yellow bulb is indicating cave 148. The light is a warning that the carbon dioxide level is too high. In other words, there are too many tourists.
And everybody wants to go there. One of the 4 must-see caves. So, environment in there is very difficult to control. You can see
It's the staff's job to intervene to control the tourist numbers. This will ensure the visitor's safety, as well as that of the wall paintings.
我觉得，这个科学家是非常了不起的。他首先有人文情怀，一个没有人文情怀的科学家，他看到这些东西，他可能我这个项目做完我就走了，啊，他这20多年来，他的人文情怀使得他能够坚持下来。
For nearly 3 decades, Neville has spent 1 month every year at Dunhuang. To him, Dunhuang is a second home.
Like what they've done here.
It's a pleasant day, and the 2 old friends are taking a stroll together.
你住的房间还在吗？可以，还可以修理。
它变成了展示，房子分成2半儿。这个地方带一个小伴儿的是一个女同志带2个孩子，我呢就住在这个地方。这个是
Look how, yeah, look how young we are there.
这个老阿姆。
There's La Huang Ketong. Huang Ketong. This
这个林先生。
那是很年轻的。
There's Martha and Neville and Jonathan taking photographs. You see.
王旭东那时候还有头发呢，现在王旭东都没头发了，这个是啥？这当然也是这个前后，
对，
装那个
纱帐，黄纱帐，对，纱帐。
我们就上去了。正在装纱帐，这个大概也就是89年。
90年的时候，90年的时候。
Look at that.
这不知道在哪儿啊
？No, this is America.
这在华盛顿 DC。
This is in America.
对，他们这个
是牙匠的。
在华盛顿 DC 那个。
Perhaps the most far-reaching achievement of the collaboration is something that Neville has been particularly devoted to.
后来就是这个事儿。 就是这个，这叫中国文物保护古迹保护准则。我搞了好多年啊，真正出版是04年，那么当然现在他们又在改，又丰富了不少内容，但他没改以前还是拿这个。这就是阿根纽说你们中国管理不行，我们有文物法也定了，82年就有了，然后呢。 这什么对这个文物法的那个实施细则也有，但是没有行规，都是比较原则的。这呢，恰恰是个行规，也是一个对你这个成果做的好与不好一个评价，也可以说你处理事务的一个依据。这个要我说非常好，确实非常好。
Today, Neville has invited Fan Jinshi and Huang Kezhong to discuss the 2nd edition of the Principles.
现在补充了都是新的内容。
是。
我说大原则不能变啊。
没有变。
现在文物破坏的这么厉害。
就把一些新的内容加进去了。这个尤其对保护原则。
中国的长城啊。
But they're going to need a better image now.
但是这图像不是特别好。
就再去选一个换一个。但是长城。
In his office, Neville has a collection of hats.
这叫舞台啊。
可以，可以。哎，还行哎，还行哎。
And this leaves this for you, Neville.
可以，你照照镜子还行。
This is a better one.
这个是范院长这个年轻时候劳动时候的。
劳动人民带的。
看介绍。
Fan Jinshi, Neville Agnew, and Huang Kezhong. These 3 old friends have for decades devoted themselves to the conservation of the Mogao Grottoes. All are now retired. Much of their time these days is taken up with training new specialists who will ensure that the wall paintings can be enjoyed by future generations. The collaboration is now focusing on training. Workshops are organised, aimed at cultivating more international expertise in the conservation of wall paintings.
Well, I feel proud. I feel proud of what we've done together. I think it's been a wonderful achievement. Everything could have been improved here or done there or done better in some way or another. But basically, I think it's been a tremendous achievement in China, in Dunhuang, in the collaboration. I think that this collaboration should serve as a model for collaborations between different countries, between different peoples.
Aside from his conservation work, Neville has always considered it his duty to tell the world about the Mogao Grottoes. The Getty Centre is organising a special exhibition which will recreate the caves and their paintings.
And you can see in this cave, in cave 285, some of the Buddhist influence from India, and you can see some of the pre-Buddhist Han mythology in the paintings as well. If you look at some of the faces there, you can see the moustache and you can see the Indian influence. And these copies show the condition of the caves today. They show the deterioration, they show the caves not as they were made originally, but as they exist today. So they are truthful, authentic copies of condition. And very important for a wide audience in America to be able to appreciate the beauty of the art here. Not many people will be able to visit Dunhuang. It's a very remote place, even today, expensive to get here. But it's a very, very creative way, we think, of bringing the art to a public in the United States. I think not many visitors to Dunhuang Mogao realize that there is this other component to the value of the caves. They see the beauty of the art, they see the wall paintings, they see the sculpture, and they say this is wonderful, which it is. It's the primary value. But there is another hidden value, which you just have to come up the river, slowly walking and contemplating, and you can feel that a much greater dimension to your life, a more spiritual component. You should look at the rocks here. They're very interesting too. These rocks that are carried down by the water.
Amid the spiritual and natural beauty, Neville can find time to reflect. And he can also find something simply decorative.
It's like a cowboy. You can take that out of the movie.
Peace, calm, and beauty. These are things that Neville Agnew believes are worthy of conservation.